Hello, I'm Chrissy Seaton. Welcome to my channel, My Noahide Family. Today, I would like to talk a little bit about self-care. We Noahides sometimes overlook this, as do many people throughout the world. And so self-care is not only about our physical well-being, but it also encompasses, and very importantly so, our spiritual well-being. So we all experience this at some time during our life. Sometimes it might only happen once or twice, and other times people experience it quite frequently, regular intervals. Now, it can be this short-term episode, or it can be a long-term episode. But the most important thing is, for us all, is that we recognise this when it happens. So what happens is our fuel tank is just on empty. We can't kind of move forward or sideways, and it's just a time of emotional, spiritual, and often physical exhaustion as well. Now, sometimes we don't even understand the cause of this. We aren't sure, because sometimes it creeps up on us rather slowly, and then suddenly it's in our face. And we don't always understand sometimes it's self-inflicted. We take on too much. We want to please so many people. We'll add, I won't say no to that. I'll do that. I'll do that. I'll do that. And sometimes it's not self-inflicted, but it can be the result of external factors. And only you can identify those, of course. But what we have to understand is that this goes unchecked, it leads to other things. It leads to anxiety. It can lead to depression. And if it's unchecked, it can even lead to people having feelings of self-harm. And that's the other extreme. And during this period of time, others may not even notice, because you become very good at putting on a brave face and smiling and saying everything's okay. Oh, I'm fine. Yeah, I'll do that, And so it's really something that we lock up within ourselves and we don't share. Now, there's reasons for that. Sometimes this may be something you can't share with someone else, or family or friends. And other times it may just be you don't want to share that either, regardless of what is at the root of all that. So let's get to a point where we say, well, when we get to sort of this, wide-eyed sort of look and everything's okay, that pasted look on the face. When we get to this point, we need to start doing something. The brave face isn't going to last forever. So, okay, what do we do about that? What can we do? Well, I like to call this a self-imposed retreat and evaluation process. And sometimes we do just simply have to withdraw ourselves away to a quiet space. Now, your version of retreat and that of somebody else's will vary and be different, but it's what you perceive as a retreat process. It could be that you're just going to go off quietly into your room or something for a few hours. It just might be a short-term process. But what you have to do is during that retreat process, whatever it be, whether it's, as I said, going to your room and being alone for a few hours, or it may be that you're going to go away for a day, a country drive in the countryside, or you may go away for a weekend by yourself, whatever it is that is appropriate for you. But what we do, or what we should be doing in that retreat stage, is an evaluation. That's the purpose. I've got to get away from all the external distractions. I have to evaluate what is the cause of this feeling of emptiness. Why am I feeling run down and exhausted? So when you do that, you have to be fairly honest with yourself. When you're feeling like this, when you're at this point, but you're still putting on that brave face that I showed before, then you really do have to do a stock take of where you're at, what are the causes, and also be honest about what that is. So don't try and fool yourself. So that and then during that process of evaluation, you've got to look, am I taking on physically too much? Am I taking on emotionally too much? Is my spiritual well-being suffering? And very often it's one of the first things to suffer, and the thing that you really need the most is that spiritual strength and reassurance. So you have to be honest and say, well, okay, I've got to make some changes. Now, what are things I can change? And also, one of the other things that you really need to constantly reassure yourself about and keep in the center of the picture is that your self-value. You're very worthwhile. You're a unique individual. Nobody else on the planet is like you. God made you. God chose for you to be in this world. He's given you skills. He's given you abilities, and nobody else can do exactly the same as you're doing. So you're a unique, and you're special, and you're very, very valuable. So that's the thing you have to look at and really come to terms with that. I'm different from anybody else. So you concentrate on that process of valuing your uniqueness. And what I advise people, or what I tell myself sometimes, is, when you're right on empty and your face is in the mud and you're lying in the mud puddle, it's no good saying, well, of course you're praying, but it's no good saying, oh, Hashem, lift me out of this mud puddle. What you've got to ask Hashem to do is, Hashem, give me the strength and the wisdom to get my face out of this mud, to lift me out of this situation. So you've got to ask for guidance. Now, the other thing that you will need to consider while you're in this retreat process is, do I need some professional help? Now, if these episodes of emptiness and physical and mental exhaustion are happening too frequently, and you may not even be able to pinpoint the cause of it, but maybe you do need to talk to a therapist, or at least talk to your GP, because it could be things like you're low on vitamins. There could be all sorts of things going on. How long since you've had a blood test? Maybe you've got some anemia. That could explain why you're feeling physically flat. So there's lots of you have to a degree, be responsible for your own health, be that physical or spiritual. And so there are steps you need to take. So don't overlook getting some professional help. And then we start to realise that we really have to revive ourselves. We've got to do something to to lift our spirits, to lift our physical exhaustion. So we've got to have a revival. You know, there's got to be something in this, while we're retreating, we've got to have a revival plan, something to help us and lift us up and forward. So you need to be planning that. So the when you're doing that revival stage, you know, reviving, you need to reflect on what needs to change for your restoration back to the health physically and spiritually and mentally that you want to be in. So you have to be honest again with that, you know, and reflect on, look, there are things I know I need to change, or let me think about things in a different light. And these are things that you can do when you're not getting interruptions or external forces coming at you all the time. So you've got to, A, be honest with yourself, and B, you've got to be willing to make some changes to get you fully restored. And only you can know what they are. So let's talk about now reloading. So first of all, you've got to get this, you know, revive yourself. So this is part of your reloading process. You know, you've got to get some energy back into the body. You've got to lift your petals a little bit, you know. You've got to start on that road to mending. So when you talk about reloading, you can't really do that when you're still in that early part of the retreating process. You've got to wait till you're thinking clearly, and you're being honest with yourself, and you're not exaggerating or overemphasizing things. You're just looking at things very clinically, for want of a better word, you know. And so what you do when you reload, and this is when you're at this point, you know, you've got all your petals are nice and revived, and you know, you've got some physical energy, you're starting to feel good about yourself, and you're starting to feel that, you know, there's the road's getting better, I'm on the mend sort of thing. So you're kind of at this point in time. So what you have to do now is clarify to yourself what changes you can make. And you're able to look at this clearly and concisely. So, okay, what has to take place? What has to take place to improve my spiritual self, my physical self? Are there some physical things I can offload onto somebody else? And also, you've got to consider your strengths and capabilities and have them fully restored, because you do have unique strengths and capabilities that no one else does. And they're the things that, you know, get you through your day, that make you that unique individual. So let's just also remind ourselves that, look, we all need time out for some self-reflection, review where we are. It doesn't mean anything's wrong with us. Just every now and then we reevaluate things. People do that with their work, with their home life. They, you know, even their leisure activities and things like that. It's quite a normal process to go through. You don't have to be in that state of physical and mental exhaustion to do that. So you need to, by now you'll have discovered some priorities are becoming quite clear to you. You're starting to have a plan in place now. And that, going back to the retreat process, now, I don't want you to think that you're going away for 6 months into some exotic countryside or wherever like that and, you know, living like a hermit. I'm talking about retreats that can be a day, half a day for that matter. It can be a weekend. You might go away for a weekend. It could be a week if you need it. And this all depends on your personal circumstances, your job, your other priorities, your main priorities and things like that will dictate that to you of how long a retreat you can have. And it can be also as simple as saying, you know what, I'm turning my phone off for the rest of the day. I'm just turning it off. It could be you know what, today I'm not going to worry about whether the washing basket needs emptying or the ironing or anything like that. I haven't got to go to work today. I'm just going to spend a day about me. I'm going to go and spend it in my room. I'm going to read a book or pursue that hobby that you have, whatever it is. I'm just going to have a day for me. Or you might just decide to go for a drive in the countryside. I'm just going to get in the car, go for a drive, think and contemplate while I'm driving, etc. A lot of people do that. I do a lot of my best thinking while I'm driving. I enjoy driving. I'm a capable driver, and I find because I'm alone in the car, I've got no external interruptions. All I have to do is obey the road rules, drive carefully, and my mind can think and sort things out. For other people, that may not be the case. But for me, I find going for a long drive very refreshing and relaxing. I picture that Hashem is in the passenger seat. I can talk to Hashem. I can feel his presence, and it restores me, gives me a nice feeling. So let's just go over this again in a summary version. So retreat is a time for you to basically disengage from all external factors and causes for however brief or however long you personally feel that to be. You've got to disengage at some stage. The reviving process is when you realize your self-uniqueness, that you are of tremendous value and tremendous value to Hashem, and certainly to your family and friends, etc. You are of value. And you have to then go through that reloading stage. And so you're going to eliminate some stuff that you don't need to have in your life. It can be physical stuff, it can be emotional stuff, whatever. Sometimes it might even be certain people. You know, there may be people that habitually cause this to happen to you, and that can be very distressing. So you've got to look at what are the main factors that are causing this distress, and what can I eliminate or severely reduce to a manageable stage. Then when you've done that, you're starting to learn to have self-respect. You're starting to understand that you need to respect yourself as well. And also you need to require that from others. So it's no good you respecting yourself and your worth and then having other people walk over the top of you. You have to get to that point where you are behaving in such a manner, you're clear, there's clarity in your thoughts and in your words, and that will happen when you respect yourself and appreciate your value. And then it becomes a lot easier to to command respect from others. And one of the things that you have to learn to do is there are some things people say that aren't worth answering. They're just not, they don't require an answer. And another thing that you have to understand is that there are times when you have to say no. And you can do that respectfully and kindly. There are things that you physically just can't fit into your program, and you have to say, look, I cannot possibly do that this week. I have other things that I have to take care of. And you can say it in a nice and pleasant way, but you certainly have to show others that you respect yourself and you expect the same from them in return. And once you've done it once or twice, you'd be surprised how comfortable you become with that. God does not expect us to be doormats. He doesn't expect us to say yes to everything to the detriment of our own health and possibly the well-being of others that we're responsible for. So there are priorities in your life and there are boundaries. And you have every right to expect there are certain boundary lines that people are not going to cross. And sometimes you will have to say no. No. And smile when you say it. I hope this video has been of some help to you, and please leave a comment and subscribe to my channel. And in the meantime, I want you to value yourself, respect yourself, take care of yourself, and God bless you.